Hey YouTube, I'm sure by the title of this video you already know what I'm about to get into, but I just wanted to say that I have filmed a 1-week update video with a bunch of details about my surgery, but I filmed it on my old phone. I was having a lot of audio problems with the phone, so today I'm finally filming on my new phone, and I have my old phone here with all the notes about what I'm about to get into. Is going to be from start to finish of my breast augmentation journey, and I literally was taking notes day by day to keep you guys informed, and so I didn't forget, because it's been a month today. It's been 30 days. I had my surgery on November 19th, and today I'm filming this December 19th. So I want to start from the very beginning, which is when I had my consultation. My consultation was back in September, around the first week of September, and I went to Richmond Surgical Arts, and I wanted Dr. Lyman because my friend had referred me and she had great results with him, and so I went in and got to meet him, and he basically created a plan together with me to fill my wants as best as he could. I went in with like a list of questions and, stuff that I thought, would best suit me. My suggestions were things like I wanted a moderate profile, I wanted a smaller implant, and right off the bat, he let me know I was a candidate for a lift. I'm gonna get into all the details about that. So basically, I had 2 different sized boobs to begin with, so I get 2 different size implants so we can match them. One boob was bigger and drooping, so I got a breast lift on one side. That would be my right side. I have the whole surgery list of fees and procedures, so I'm going to let you guys know all the prices and exactly what I paid for, but I just want to let you know a little bit about how we actually came to the decision that we did. So when I got there, I basically had in mind that I want small implants. I don't want to go up in size. I just want to have perkier boobs. I just wanted more volume up top, and like I said, one of my boobs was drooping, and I have had 2 kids. My boobs have changed repeatedly, so I waited a whole year after my second child, my last child, to get this boob job. So I called in around August, and my son was born in July. So I called in August, got in September, and then I told him basically what I wanted, and he said, well, let's try bigger implants on, how you can put on a bra, or you can put the implant up to your body to see about what suits your frame. So he wanted to suggest bigger implants first, so I went ahead and I tried different 320 cc's, and I knew that wasn't for me, and basically we decided on around 240 cc's. I know that's one of the smaller implants. He said that's probably the smallest implant he's done in a really long time, and I just knew what I wanted wasn't going to be super big, but I wasn't happy to hear that I needed a lift. I was butthurt about that, but he told me we could take the scarring to a minimum by putting the breast implant in under my nipple, and when he does the lift, we'll do around my nipple. So we ended up doing a donut incision instead of the lollipop lift, which is around the nipple and then down the bottom of the breast, so it looks like a lollipop. And so he basically told me that my right boob was about 22 raisins bigger than my left boob, and so we would need a little bit bigger of an implant on that side. And I wanted to go ahead and let y'all know we did go with moderate. I'm gonna pull up my exact what I was charged for. So after I left the consultation, I wasn't even sure about pricing on everything. I did end up going with a silicone implant. I know that saline is cheaper, but I chose silicone because I wanted a more natural look. We ended up saying we're going to go under the muscle because I wanted a more, I don't want the big booby look. I wanted a natural look, so we ended up doing under the muscle. So to get this pricing, my surgeon's nurse, Lauren, she ended up emailing it to me about a week later when she got back into the office. And the PDF I have here is I think it's bilateral breast augmentation was $3,200. The silicone implant themselves was $2,200. The unilateral lift was $500, which is $500 is just the one side. So if I would have got 2 lifts, it would have been $1,000. So that total for surgical procedures was $5,900. And then on top of that, there is also another fee for the actual surgery center themselves. It says here the facility fee is $800 and the anesthesia fee was $630. So that total would be $1,430. And the total altogether was $7,330 for just the surgery alone. And after everything was said and done, I did get like a breast implant identification card, and it let me know that let me go grab that. Okay, it lets me know that on my left side I have 255 cc's, and then on my right side I have 240 cc's of the Nutrella Inspira Soft Touch breast implant. So that's after everything was said and done. But I went in after my first appointment. I went in to actually meet with his nurse, and I made my down payment around November 5th it was, and I came in with a list of questions. I came in with anxieties. I was concerned about going under the muscle because I know the recovery can be pretty rough. She told me, you know, to try to ease everything and tell me, you know, my implants aren't that big and hopefully my recovery be really easy, and the bigger the implant, the harder the recovery can be. When I went in, I made my down payment of the $5,900, and she also gave me my surgical bra, my post-op bra. This is what the one she gave me it looks like. I think it's like a Hanes sports bra, and I bought my own compression bras. I got this off of Amazon in a bunch of colors. I forget who even makes that. Whoever that is. And this is in a small, and I wear mine without the paddings it came with. Okay, it's pretty obvious I'm not wearing a compression bra while filming this. I'm wearing this sports bra, and I've really been loving PSD sports bras for less support, but still makes me feel supported at the same time. In the beginning, my boobs felt super heavy, and now I barely feel the weight of them at all, but I'm still wearing a bra 24/7 because that's what I feel most comfortable doing. After meeting with his nurse, Lauren, she sent me home with my prescriptions to pick up before my surgery. And there was a list for 4 different prescriptions, including a muscle relaxer, Oxy, a nausea pill that I was supposed to take in advance, so I didn't experience nausea during the surgery. I was supposed to take it like, I think 2 hours in advance. It's called Ondansetron. Don't know how to say it. And she also gave me a script for Zofran, so any nausea I felt after, I would take the Zofran for. So my actual surgery date was on November 19th, and it was in the afternoon at 1. So I took the pill around 12, and I wasn't supposed to eat anything after, I think it was 6. So I went in at 1 and I made that surgery fee deposit of the rest of the money. So I waited in the lobby for my name to be called so I could go back to the actual triage center itself. This is like a surgery center where they do a lot of different surgeries. It's not just plastic surgery, and I knew it was a very big surgery center and they were very busy. I went in with a lot of anxiety, and I was like pretty worked up, so I was happy that I could wait and, you know, try to ease my anxieties with just waiting, which sounds kind of silly, but at the end of it I was a lot more calm because I waited a couple hours back in triage. They were getting me set up with my IV. I had to put my phone away and I couldn't like record or vlog or distract myself that way, but I was given a bunch of different medicines because when I got there I was actually extremely nauseous, which I think was due to just the anxiety itself. I was all messed up. My stomach was messed up. I'm telling you, I had anxiety like never before. I was excited and nervous. So I let the nurses know there, and they made sure to help me out. They gave me Zofran on top of the medicine I already taken. They gave me 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol. They gave me a liquid IV medication that was anti-nausea, as well as I believe a IV anxiety medicine. I'm not sure. They put that stuff in my hand and it hurt. I know they put 2 syringes in my hand, but I can't remember if they actually did end up giving me anything for anxiety. But by the end of it, my nausea was actually gone, and a couple hours later I got to meet with my surgeon. He comes in there and he's actually there to draw on the lines for the surgery itself, and I of course had more questions. Every time I came in to see him, I had a bunch of questions. You know, first was how was his day? I really wanted to know. I wanted him to be having a good day and hope he wasn't stressed, because I know it's a busy place. He's a popular guy and he was away for a long time, I'm sure working hard. He said he was having a great day. I'm glad for it, because I would hate to hear that, you know, he wasn't, and he wasn't in a good place. And I don't know, it just made my comfort greater to know that he was in a good place. And I also just had a few extra questions about my surgery, and he let me know, like, I know what I'm doing, you know, don't worry. So I actually was nervous peeing the entire time. I was given a saline drip, but I was not supposed to be eating or drinking. Believe me, I didn't, but I was constantly peeing, so I had to go to the bathroom when everyone was getting ready for me. I was, you know, constantly making trips to the bathroom. And this time I met my surgeon again outside the bathroom, where I was given my anesthesia. They being the anesthesiologist and the surgeon, were both there outside the bathroom waiting for me with my my bed, my hospital bed, the cot. And I hopped in the cot. I actually had brought my blanket with me as my comfort item. I'm so glad I did that, because it was actually super helpful. But basically the last thing I remember is looking at my blanket thinking, maybe I should grab this, maybe I shouldn't, I'm about to have surgery, I'll just leave it where it is. And out. I was out that quickly. And this time getting the medicine in my hand wasn't as painful. She made sure to do it really slow. When I woke up, it was a completely different time of day. I'm sure you've heard people say, like, when you have anesthesia and you wake up, it's like waking up from a quick nap. It was like you were never out. I woke up and I could tell I was out for a long time. I mean, there wasn't windows in my room, but you could tell, like, it was dark outside. It was later. There was a whole different staff there. And I remember someone was instantly looking into my room when I was waking up. There was a nurse right there. I told her, I was like, ouch, it hurts. She's like, where does it hurt? And I said, it hurts on my ribs, which was, you know, the weirdest thing, because for the rest of my recovery I didn't feel that pain again, but it was like a very sharp feeling in my ribs. So thankfully I had really good nurses, and they actually hooked me up with some pain med of some sort. So I was able to go home with some pain meds in my system, thankfully, on top of like the Tylenol I was given hours before. And the nurses were so sweet. They helped dress me. My husband was out there in the parking lot waiting for me, and he was pretty confused because, like I said, my surgery actually did take a long time. I'll let you guys know why. My surgeon ended up telling me that my muscles were so tight. The muscles that the implants go under, or the muscles that are up here, were so tight on me personally, and he doesn't like to work under muscle paralyzers, so he really had to take his time. He gave me, I think, an extra half hour of anesthesia. It was supposed to be like an hour and a half procedure. It ended up being over 2 hours, so I was pretty shocked to hear that. And he said it was pretty difficult because some women don't even have any muscles there, so like where he puts the implant is where the implant is going to stay. So basically my implants were slowly dropping from under the muscle that's up here, and when I got out of surgery I could definitely feel all the pain was up here and in my pits. Not only did I have really tight muscles, I also have sensitive skin. I bruise easily, I bleed easily, so my recovery was pretty rough. I was pretty bruised all the way around, all around my incision site, and below where my implants were dropping to. I Like, I had scabs that were pretty bad, so when I ended up going in on the Monday following, so I had surgery on Friday, November 19th, and so I went in on Monday to get my my one stitch. I had one stitch on the left side, and basically when he took those peri strips off, I ended up bleeding out some more. So it doesn't happen with everyone, it was just a personal thing that I deal with on the regular. I already knew what was up, so he ripped those things off, and I still have marks from the strips where they were, but thankfully my bruising has gone down now that I'm at 4 weeks. I was using Arnicare bruise cream all around my my actual implants themselves, but not around my incision sites. I didn't want to put anything on my incision sites except for the bacitracin ointment that they suggested, because most people don't have an allergic reaction to bacitracin, as opposed to you could if you have a prolonged use of Neosporin. They also told me I need to pick up some gauze. I picked up some Tylenol, I picked up some stool softener. I told y'all how I was experiencing pain on the top of my chest and in my armpits. Well, it made wearing these bras extremely uncomfortable. I'll let you know, I didn't even wear this one for at least the first 2 weeks because of right here. It has a seam on the inside that's a pretty thick seam, but when I tell you I put any sort of like seam pressing down on the pain, it hurts so bad. And then these bras where the cups were supposed to be inserted, they have seams themselves that were on the armpits. So basically right where I was having pain those first couple of weeks, I was having to put gauze in between the seam itself and my skin so it would sit softly and not leave that indent in my skin. But again, I feel like I'm hopping ahead a little bit because I literally wrote down day by day how I was recovering, and in the beginning I'll tell you it was rough. The ride home was rough. Like, I live pretty close to Richmond, I'm like right outside Richmond, and the ride felt long and the ride was bumpy. I was so sore after that, but I went to sleep. I went to sleep, it was bedtime. So I woke up in the middle of the night, I took my meds, I was on a schedule with my meds, and the first meal I had, I was actually eating soup and I had someone feed me. I didn't want to move my arms, but the feeling that I was having in my armpits was like a sunburn feeling, like a chafed feeling. Even like if my arm touched onto my armpits, it's a weird sensation. And I also knew that laying down in surgery and then coming out of surgery, your back can have that pain from laying down, or basically from the way you're sitting up right now, you're kind of hunched over, you can give yourself back pain. And I'm telling you, I used the entire stick of Icy Hot in like 24 hours. It was pretty crazy, and I knew I needed to find a better solution, and thankfully I remembered that CBD exists, and I've been using the crap out of some CBD balm. It's let me go grab it. Okay, here's like my second jar of this stuff, and I've been using a stick to scrape out the bottom of it so it doesn't get under my nails. But basically that's who makes it, and inside of it's 400 milligrams of CBD, and when I tell y'all I'm hooked on this stuff, it is great. I was putting it in the beginning at the top of my chest and everywhere else around, and now that I'm on week 4, I haven't been putting it on the top of my chest at all. I think around the second week it was just armpit pain, and the dropping pain on the bottom of my implants is where I've been focusing that balm, and it's made a huge difference, especially when having to squeeze into compression bras while your boobs are super sore. So around week 1, day 7, I was actually starting to feel better. So 1 week after my surgery, literally like to the hour, I started feeling better. And then in the nighttime of that day, I ended up getting my period early, and it rocked me. I was in a lot of pain. I had crazy hormones. I had never had so much acne, and I was sweating, and I'm telling you, my hormones were going crazy. I got my period early. It was rough on my body, and I thought I was feeling better, and then I was feeling 10 times worse. I was just really happy that I didn't have my period during the day of surgery, because I knew that was something I was trying to avoid, so it could have been worse, but this couldn't have came at a worse timing. I was still constipated on day 8. I'm only taking in soup because I was so scared. I hated taking those medications, specifically the oxy, but with everything combined, the muscle relaxers, the Tylenol, everything, it was making me really sick. It was making me really nauseous, and then the oxy was making me constipated. It was giving me hot flashes. It was making me itchy. It was making me dizzy. It was giving me blurred vision. It was making me dry mouth. I mean, the list goes on. I had it all. Bloating. I was bloated far before I got my period, and that's thanks to the oxy. So it's not my friend. I was so excited to get off of it. I was cutting my tablets in half and trying to take as much Tylenol to replace any pain medicines I was skipping out on. Really, I rock bottom when I was on day 8 and I said I was still constipated. It was really rough in that morning, and I remember breaking down and crying, and it was just not even what I expected. I thought, maybe I'd be crying over pain. Because just to let you know, I was in hella pain. 9 out of 10 was as bad as my C-section recoveries, and that might have just been because of my tightened muscles, but most people don't mention how truly painful this can be. For 7 days, I didn't even try to sit up on my own, open anything, lift my kids, or even shower by myself. I know I'm crying over the complications with all my medicine, but it was really rough, and like I said, I was super hormonal. I've never had my hormones be so out of whack, and obviously that's because I had implants put in. It's a pretty noticeable difference. But thankfully, I was able to go poop. Yeah! Then the rest of the day was so much better. I took a shower for the first time by myself. I was having my husband like wash my hair because lifting my arms up this high was like I'd have to lock my thumbs and slowly bring them up. And those were some of my exercises I was supposed to be doing daily. I would bring my arms up, bring them to the side, and hold them at each position for 30 seconds. And it was actually a workout, believe it or not. Now I can do it just fine. I'm actually in zero pain now. Some tenderness here and there, but I'm finally on the up and up 4 weeks in. But those first 2 weeks, I was doing that every morning, every night, as often as I could to ease with the pain and the tightness. And on day 8, I started my displacement exercises as well, which was from the bottom, you cup your chest and it rises the implant up and displaces it out of the pocket it was put in. And I was also, for like a week straight, doing cleavage defining exercises, which is pushing your boobs in this way. And for each exercise up and side, I would do 30 seconds and hold it. And then I would put CBD cream all over me because the pain afterwards was pretty hard the first 2 weeks. So after the first 8 days, I felt like the first time I did my exercises, I was doing them wrong. So I called the nurse and I was like, is there any way you could show me in person? Like, I feel like I'm doing it wrong. And she said, give yourself a couple more days. Like, I think you're doing it right, and I think that you'll be okay. And in a couple more days, if you still feel like you're not getting the gist of it, then just let me know, and we can make an in-person appointment where she could show me how I was doing. So I looked up a bunch of different YouTube videos. Like I said, I was doing like the cleavage defining exercise, and I found that off of YouTube. But what I found was after 2 weeks, I was able to actually move the implant a lot easier, because in the beginning it was really firm. It was really hard. It just didn't want to move. It was like hard to grab onto. So now I actually do the CBD before my exercises because I don't have that problem with grabbing my implant and moving it up and down, and the pain is actually like easier to manage if I put the CBD butter on before my exercises. So I'm telling you, that stuff has been really helpful for me. After day 8, around day 9, I actually started doing, you know, light housework, manual labor. I was out there raking leaves, blowing the leaves. I was doing long walks. I was doing all of that. And at the end of every day, I was in so much pain. I was so much more sore than the beginning of the day after I did a couple of days of doing the yard, taking walks. I was like, man, I need to stop pushing it every day. And when I woke up, I would be really sore, but in not the same way, because I was trying to sleep on my side around day 8, and I found that it did make me really sore in the beginning. So I ordered a back sleeper pillow, and it ended up being really helpful. I used to sleep on my belly, and I knew it was going to be a problem for me, because in the beginning, I'm telling you, the amount of pillows for this, I had the sit pillow, the kind that is like a seat. I had a neck pillow, I had decorative pillows, I had bed pillows, I had now the back sleeper pillow, I have my pregnancy pillow still that's in like 2 different parts, and I used all of that to prop myself up. In the beginning, I was sitting straight up so my implants could continue to drop, and I was propping my arms up because just dropping my arms to my side hurt so bad. So when I was laying down, I wanted pillows on both of my sides and basically just surrounding me, like a pregnancy pillow does that as well. It would just keep me all tucked in around. After I got the back sleeper pillow, I started sleeping on my back, and now I'm finally starting to sleep on my left side. So I'm going to tell you, sleeping on my right side is a lot more painful. I have a lot more pain with my right side, my armpit pain, everything. They were about the same around week 2. Like, you could feel they were both really sore, but at the end of it, I'm telling you, the side with the lift hurt a lot more, even though the side on my left is the side with the bigger implant. I didn't feel any stretching pain or anything like that. I don't believe that's the feeling I was getting. I think it was just the fact that my muscles were cut open. That was the tightness and everything I was feeling. And then around day 10, I started feeling the incision tightness. It was tight. It was hard to stand up straight. It's sensitive. And for those next couple of days, I was actually taking the gauze and putting it in between as a barrier between the bra and my skin. I would put the bacitracin ointment on underneath of that, and around then is when my scabs started to fall off. And about 3.5 weeks later, all my scabs are gone, as well as my bruising. So about my nipples, like I said, I had 2 different incisions made on each, and one of my nipples is numb, which is the side of the lift, as well as a part of my armpit. So speaking about nipples, I had 2 different incisions on each. I had the implant I think it's called a crescent incision. And when I tell you that I cannot feel my right nipple, it's kind of crazy. It's, you know, still going to take a while to regain all of its sensation, and I also have some numbness in my armpit. And then on the left side, like I said, I had the crescent incision, which it looked completely different than my other nipple. And so basically, while my implants are dropping, my nipples are rising, which sounds kind of funny, but like this crescent side is sort of inflating, the nipple is coming up. And on the donut incision side, the nipple is kind of where it's going to be. It sits perfectly. It doesn't change at all, but I found that they were basically in 2 different places in the beginning, and now that my implants are changing, so are my nipples, so that's fun. What's also fun is, since my boobs are bigger than I'm used to, I can turn a corner too sharp and accidentally knock my boob onto something, and I'm still getting used to the size of them, even though they're not super large implants. They're bigger than I'm used to, and I find that pretty funny. I also shaved for the first time after my surgery maybe a couple days ago, which is kind of the longest time I've ever been without shaving my armpits. But when I went to shave my armpits, I noticed that since I got the moderate profile, that my boobs, it means I have quite a lot of side boob. So when I'm trying to shave, I couldn't get the razor to sit flat on my armpit now that I have the curve of my breast there. So I had to turn the razor around and shave in a completely different direction than I'm used to, just to get those last couple of hairs. You know, just girly things. I forgot to mention, around 3 weeks I started with the vitamin E oil, which I'm just trying to reduce scarring and all of that. I'm using that in line with the bacitracin ointment and everything else. But I use the vitamin E oil maybe like once a day, and the bacitracin maybe 3 times a day, and definitely before I go to sleep. I make sure to layer up with all of the good stuff. I'm not using any scar creams yet, but I will keep you guys updated along the way. I plan on doing more of these updates. I'll let you know what products I'm using and all of that throughout my recovery. But I also wanted to give you guys now, before I go, a little update of how my boobs are sitting on my chest up here, because my implants dropping have been really slow. I've had moments where I'm like, I cannot believe what my boobs look like right now. There's been times where my implant's still up here, and then there's like a curve in my my chest because they're just dropping, and I wasn't sure what to make of that. But now that I am 4 weeks, I definitely see a difference. I definitely don't see that indent anymore. If you guys want to see what I mean, it's indent is the top of my chest now instead of in the middle of my implant. So far I haven't had any post-operative appointments yet, because this is December. This is his busiest month, he told me, because most people get off like holiday leave for December so they can schedule in, you know, some plastic surgery. I thought it was because, you know, some people get Christmas bonuses and, you know, you've been saving up all year. But yeah, he's really busy, so I'm not going to see him until around the first week of January. And I, of course, I'm going to have a bunch of questions for him, and I'm going to keep you guys posted. So stay tuned for that.